In the quiet town of Ashford, where time itself seemed to move a little slower, lived two siblings, Leo, the eldest, and Anna, his little sister. Leo was known for his caution, for always weighing every step before taking it. Anna, at just 10 years old, carried a restless spirit. She would leap first and think later. Their bond was the strongest thing in all of Ashford, a rock anchored in the shifting tides of life's uncertainties. One afternoon, as they crossed the old wooden bridge that stretched across the river bearing the town's name, disaster struck. A sudden current, wild and unseasonable, tore through the waters, uprooting a century-old tree. The giant trunk came crashing down onto the bridge, splintering its timbers and trapping Leo at one end, with the river raging just beneath his feet. Fear washed over his face. His eyes darted from the rushing waters below, to the tangled branches hemming him in, to the impossible gap between himself and safety. It was a scene with no escape. Anna froze for only a heartbeat. Then, ignoring the cries of the townsfolk gathering on the bank, voices warning her to stay back, voices drenched in panic, she began to search, not for what was lost, but for what remained. That's when she saw it. One of the tree's roots, still clinging to the earth, arched across the torrent like a precarious bridge. It was narrow, treacherous, almost absurd, but it was the only way. Determination lit her face. She grabbed hold of the root and began to climb. The bark was slick, her hand slipped, her body lurched, but she clung on with every ounce of strength. Fear threatened to swallow her whole, yet the sight of her brother, pale, cornered, and alone, pushed her forward. Step by step, gasp by gasp, she advanced, while the crowd's frantic shouts faded into hushed, collective breaths. At last, she reached the other side. With trembling hands, she found a sturdy branch and stretched it toward Leo. Inch by inch, he pulled himself across, until, at last, he was safe. That day, the tale of the girl who saved her brother by climbing the root of a fallen tree became legend in Ashford. But not everyone believed. She was lucky, some whispered. It wasn't courage, it was recklessness, others scolded. Unsettled by the reminder of what a child, unyielding and unafraid, might dare to do. They saw only the danger. They never saw the solution. That night, their grandmother, a woman whose eyes had witnessed more of the world than most, whose voice carried the calm of a lullaby, called Anna to her side. "Anna," she said softly, "people keep asking how you managed the impossible. They see your strength, but they don't understand what truly moved you." The old woman paused, her gaze tender. "You didn't climb that route because you thought you were the strongest. You climbed because your mind was free from doubt. You didn't stop to measure the risk. You acted out of love for your brother." She smiled, her words falling to a whisper. "Real strength isn't about what you have. It's about what your heart refuses to question." And that night, as Leo and Anna lay side by side, safe and unbroken, the gentle breeze drifting in from the river seemed to carry that same truth across the whole of Ashford. That the most unbreakable walls are the ones we build in our own minds, and that to even consider the impossible not as a barrier, but as a challenge, is already the first step towards overcoming it. So Ashford learned that sometimes it is the most unlikely of children who remind us that faith and possibility is the greatest strength of all.